And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Get together, have a few laughs.
This is the Iowa Talk Guys, and you're listening with Erock,
Theo,
and Teepee, and welcome. Man, it's great to have you here again, Erock.
It is.
I'm here.
This is a twofer. Holy, we got us a streak.
So lucky.
Yeah, we are actually
Blessed to have you grace us with your presence, sir.
Love you, bro.
Yep. Well, today...
Get us into it, Teepee.
Yeah, today we are talking to you about the Communist News Network. I thought it was the Clinton News Network.
I was going to say the same thing.
Well, it's whatever you want it to be, I guess. It's supposed to be the Central News Network, right?
Well, there was the Jeffrey Toobin guy that got caught during the COVID pandemic.
Whacking it? In the tool shed?
Cockflobbing. So it could be the Cockflobbing News Network.
Oh, you can do whatever you want, I guess. Yeah, it's 2022. Take it however you want. But anyways, we want to talk to you about the death throes of CNN. That's what I think it is. CNN.
Are we in the end?
They might be. They are changing their ways, so we don't know. The future is uncertain.
We're going to get into it all, aren't we?
We're going to get into it. Not all of it,
more
but some
fair
of
and
it.
balanced.
More, yeah, unbiased and professional, whatever.
That's Fox.
Yeah.
Fair and balanced. Who cares? They're all the same when it comes down to it.
Yeah, but I mean, really, CNN was the trailblazer in the 24/7.
We got stuff to talk about.
So we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
We want to talk about, started off with who is the founder of CNN. It's a man named Ted Turner. Okay?
Theo.
Well, he was a...
He's not cool enough to be a Theo.
No, he was actually a James... I'm sorry.
Oh, I see the association now.
Well... Okay.
He was married to Jane Fonda.
Yeah, he sure was. We'll get on to that. He was actually...
Hanoi Jane?
Hanoi Jane, yeah. That famous activist.
Yeah,
right?
she got a look at North Vietnamese missile defense systems and stuff.
Right. So, getting into this, Ted Turner, his father owned he purchased a billboard advertising company after his father got out of the Navy. He was in World War II. Okay, and throughout Ted Turner's life, some things happened. His parents moved around or whatever. He went to some very prestigious schools. His father was trying to get him to Harvard, and he ended up going to Brown University. He also attended a military college down in Atlanta, Georgia. But anyways, he gets out. His dad puts him in charge of a branch down there in Georgia, and turns out Ted has a knack for business, so he excels, does a great job. His father ends up trying to get Turner Broadcasting Company, or advertising company, into some stuff. Doesn't really work out too well. Apparently his father suffered from bipolarism and some other issues, and ended up committing suicide in, I believe it was June 1963. And Ted inherited everything. So Ted was a dreamer. He had big plans. So he ended up expanding the business of just doing billboard advertising into radio and television, and rebranded the company as Turner Broadcasting Systems.
TBS.
And formulated Yeah, it incorporated into the Georgia company. They absorbed Turner Advertising Company.
Man, TBS was some great entertainment when we were growing up, though, right? I mean, like the Waltons and stuff on TBS.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Ted Turner actually got into a lot of stuff in here. We talk about TNT. Okay, he started that. TCM.
The Nashville? No.
The Turner National Television.
Something like
or
that.
Network Television, I think it was called.
Anyway.
The Turner Classic Movies. Right? Yeah, they were showing all that stuff. So he had his fingers in some stuff. But he really wasn't, I don't think, that good of a guy. I mean, I remember back when the statistic came out, they were saying 22 veterans a day were committing suicide. And this is, I think, in 2012. I was still active duty Marine Corps.
It's probably not much different now, is it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think those numbers really dropped. But Ted Turner was in an interview on CNN, and they had asked him, I can't remember, I think it was Pierce Morgan that interviewed him about it, and they asked him, like, hey, what do you think about this? And Ted Turner, being the elitist neocon that he is, was like, well, I think it's a good thing, because this goes to show that human beings weren't meant to be in these war situations and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there like, hey, schmuck, if it weren't for war situations, I don't think CNN would be around. Okay?
Yeah.
So
more American servicemen are
dying now
suicide.
From suicide over there than are dying in combat.
I mean, that's shocking, isn't it?
Well, no, I think it's good because it's so clear that we're programmed and we're born to love and help each other, not to kill each other, destroy each other. That's an aberration. That's left over from hundreds of years ago. It's time for us to start acting in light.
Which we'll get into that.
We're going to get into that.
We are, yeah. He launched CNN. It was a brand new concept, 24-hour, 7 days a week news, right? On this new thing called cable television.
Mm.
All brand new. Like I said, he was a trailblazer. He kind of pioneered the whole 24-hour news network stuff.
Cable television.
Right. And they were,
it was a big deal when we were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was too poor to have cable.
Me too. Yeah, I didn't even have the internet. Yeah,
I usually lived too far away from town.
Well, that was my other problem too. Yeah. Well, I lived so out in the boonies that my parents didn't even get cable or anything until years after I was out of the house.
Yeah.
And then fiber optic came available.
It was also spotty as far as being afforded from time to time too, I believe.
Oh yeah, it was expensive to get it ran out way out in the boonies.
I had to go to my grandma's to watch Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, that's what I would go over to my grandparents and watch Cartoon Network and stuff and everything. Yeah. So anyway, only rich folks with money can afford that stuff.
That cable television in the big cities.
Yep. So anywho, that launched June 1st, 1980, was when CNN went live. Okay, and it had a lot of people being like, this is never going to work out. Well, it turned out it worked out very well.
The 24-hour news cycle. Mm-hmm. Pioneers of the 24-hour news cycle.
Right, yeah, it was a trailblazer, right? Big dreamer. But one thing I wanted to add here, he went through 3 marriages. The most famous marriage was to his third, to actress and activist, quote-unquote, Hanoi Jane Fonda. They married in 1991 and divorced a decade later over disagreements on religious beliefs.
Yeah.
Obviously not morally ethic beliefs. Because if you know anything about Jane Fonda, big deal back in the 60s, 70s. The 70s and 80s. She went and visited a POW camp in Vietnam with American POWs that were being tortured and all this other fun stuff. But when Jane showed up, they were all make-uped up.
They were all being treated very well.
Right, and they tried to pass messages to Jane Fonda, and in front of the camera, they had snuck messages to her, and she shook all their hands, and then as soon as the camera was off, turned around and handed the message, the pieces of paper, without even looking at them, knowing nothing. She was just like, oh, here, look what these POWs tried to do, and handed it over to the guards. Didn't really work out very well for those POWs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the war into Vietnam is a whole other
we're going to do. We are going to do some stuff about that. It's going to be a good episode.
Yeah.
We'll go through the Pentagon Papers and all that stuff. But speaking of war, so for the first decade, CNN largely chugged along. Wasn't really seen as a game changer, true competitor to the other big broadcasting networks out of New York, CBS, NBC, ABC. Walter Cronkite's stomping grounds and all those.
CNN's out of Atlanta.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. like we spoke before.
All their shows, like main shows, are done in New York and Washington and stuff nowadays.
Nowadays, yeah, but mainly based out of Atlanta. But that all changed when the war broke out between the United States and Iraq, or conflict, not really a war. Okay, which is really interesting.
We've talked about the babies in the incubators.
Yeah.
And
While I was there, I saw the Iraqi soldiers come into the hospital with guns. They took the babies out of the incubators. Took the incubators and left the children to die on the cold floor.
Girl that was coached up to pretend that she was a nurse in Kuwait.
Turns out it was an ambassador's daughter.
Yeah, and therefore just further justify the United States sending troops.
And it was broadcast
to the Persian Gulf
across the entire United States and tugged on the heartstrings of all these mothers.
I think we call it propaganda.
That is absolutely called propaganda. And
hey, you laugh with that mic up in your mouth, okay?
put that next to your mouth. And they, and on top of that, Saddam asked the U.S. ambassador prior to the invasion of Kuwait, hey, this is what we want to do. Would the United States have any issue with this? And he was told by the U.S. ambassador to Iraq that the U.S. has no interest in Arabic quarrels or issues between Arabic countries in the Middle East. So he took that as, let's go ahead. Cool. I mean, she didn't flat out say, yeah, go ahead, we'll have no problem with it. She implied that we won't have any issues with it.
That he would be in the clear.
Yeah. And what happened? What we just talked about. The incubator story came out.
Death, chaos, and
everybody
destruction.
had George H.W. Bush on their television at night after supper and talking about, we got to stop these bad people. They're bad. Saddam's a bad person, right?
After he was originally supported and given weapons to fight against the Iranians.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. Nobody talks about the shit.
The Iranian-Iraq War?
Yeah.
We should do a show on that, too.
We funded him and armed him once again.
Because we were upset because they kicked out the Shah.
What do Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden have in common? Oh, the U.S. armed and funded them. That's right.
The CIA connections. So anyway.
Let's not forget that.
But
Never forget.
Y'all forgot. So CNN somehow, I'm not quite sure. I tried looking into this to see how they were able to do this, but I'm sure it's been lost since the topple of the Iraqi government and stuff in 2003 and 4. But on the night of the war exploded over Baghdad, the first bombing of Baghdad.
Bombs over Baghdad.
Of the Gulf War. CNN was the only news organization that was able to broadcast from the city while it was under siege, quote-unquote, from the city. We also know then CNN put together that propaganda. Remember that Scud missile, that fake Scud missile that they tried footage? You never saw that?
What was it?
It was a CNN reporter. I should have put that in the notes. I'll have to find that clip if I can.
Hi, Atlanta. We're about to have a short course in missile identification. This is a Scud. You can tell it by its distinctive label. Now, when the missile is launched, the first thing you look for is the plume sticking out behind it. Now, when you detect this, you can tell it's been launched. Thank you.
See the graffiti on it? Yeah, show me graffiti.
Larry King show or bust. Charles Jaco, CNN, reporting live from Saudi Arabia. Oh, I love this country so much.
You guys just don't have a clue.
Yeah, they mocked up this. They tried saying they were in downtown Baghdad and U.S. Scud missiles were coming in. Missiles. Thank you. Scud missiles were coming in, and it was like a bottle rocket on like a string that they tried doing all this craziness. You don't remember that?
No.
I'll have to try to find that video.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's buried in YouTube because if anybody's been on YouTube or any other mainstream search engines lately, notice that there's a lot of articles, particularly from any third party sources that aren't mainstream media that is really hard to find. Yeah, it's strange.
I wonder why.
I wonder why too.
It's like there's a cartel or something.
Yeah, it's weird. But anyway, CNN was boots on the ground allegedly during that, and that really they were able to bring you the war from the ground 24/7 right in your living room, and boy did they really got going, right? That really helped them become big. They were big shot players now in the news networking broadcasting.
So in World War II, we had people going along and taking pictures and writing stuff down with pencils on paper, and then and taking video.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Vietnam,
yep,
we had the same, but perhaps more. And then a more of a message and correspondence to the American people. 91, we had 24-hour news coverage of the war, like a damn spectator sport, like it's a sports network that's running.
Yeah,
sports.
The new gladiator games.
Yeah.
War.
Yeah.
If it bleeds, it leads, baby. And it's really, really weird because, I mean, CNN hasn't always been the way it has been recently. I mean, they did have, and according to some articles, I think this one was from The Hill, for decades, they said CNN stood for objective, down-the-middle news reporting in the mind of the American media consumer. I wouldn't necessarily say that's true. I think they did have a lot of good stuff. I mean, I do remember also, and they were reporting a lot of stuff in 2002, 2003, prior to the invasion of Iraq. Like, hey, the rest of the UN's really not on board for this. Maybe this isn't a good idea, right? Because they were kind of left-leaning then, so they were kind of against the war until the Democrats realized what the Republicans knew, and that war is a racket, baby, and we can make a lot of money.
Yeah, I would consider everything that Democrats were saying against all of that at the time as just political posturing, frankly.
I would have to say, too, because a lot of people profited off of that stuff.
I mean, CNN during the Obama years and whatnot, they cheered on the wars.
Heck yeah, they did. They were champions of it, baby.
Defended everything he did.
Yeah. Made it look good, right? So in 2013, speaking of the Obama era, 2013, the network hired former NBC Universal president Jeff Zucker to take the reins on as ratings continued to go below average. At this point, so I kind of skipped forward a little bit, a decade or two, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they started the Iraq War. They had a lot of ratings. The stuff as the American public, quote unquote, became more disinterested in the war, which is bizarre. The ratings started falling. They hired Jeff Zucker to try to bring that back up. 2015, he made a big move to insert heavy doses of partisan opinion into the news reports, which greatly accelerated when President Trump joined the 2016 presidential race, which is really interesting because Zucker, real quick, hired... When he was at NBC, he hired Trump for The Apprentice. Remember that one summer when everybody was like, "You're fired"?
Yeah,
right? Everybody loved
yeah,
Trump, right?
Yeah.
And that
Before
show
he ran for president.
Yeah, and then he ran for president, and then all of a sudden they're like, "This guy's the devil."
Yeah, I remember seeing him on Oprah.
Yeah, even Hillary Clinton.
This man is such a role model.
Oh, I mean, nobody had any bad thing to say about him until he decided to run for the Republican Party, and then that's when the clause came out.
Or just run for president because they don't really care what party you're from. And you have to defend the cartel. You have to defend.
And John McCain said it straight to the American public. He's on live TV. He said Trump's not part of the insider club, and they don't like him.
Yellow Cake Powell said that he was a pariah. Like that was supposed to persuade the average everyday American to not vote for the guy or something. Right? You say what you want about Donald Trump, but Colin Powell, somebody from the defense, the military industrial complex, excuse me.
Yep.
Saying that this guy's a pariah and that's the reason you shouldn't vote for him.
Yeah. Hey, good sales pitch, bud.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to vote for him even more now if you don't like him.
Rather vote for a homeless crackhead than most of you people that live within the Beltway.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because we could probably talk to this guy and get him to do some stuff.
Right. But anywho, so it's really interesting because CNN started the push talking about Russian collusion, handing Trump the White House before...
Yeah, fast forward to 2016. 15.
Well, they started talking about before the inauguration even happened.
So, 2014, 15,
January
15.
20. Yeah. So, it was nonstop Trump bashing. A Harvard University study concluded that CNN led the way, along with Zucker's former home of NBC, in giving Trump 93% negative coverage in his first 100 days. If that doesn't scream personal agenda, I mean, I don't know what does.
Yeah, I've also listened to Clay Travis of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show. You know,
Okay.
the guys that took the Rush Limbaugh spot.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And Clay Travis has mentioned, you know, it's also interesting that all of the mistakes went against Trump. You know, that none of the mistakes that just happened favored him, ever.
Right.
So.
Yeah, really interesting.
You would,
well, I remember,
one could easily conclude that's called a concerted effort.
Well, I remember in his first 100 days, the first thing he did was he started writing executive orders to nullify a lot of the crap that Obama had put in as
regulatory
executive
whatnot.
orders for his buddies, right? So obviously they're going to be upset about him because...
Look at the Trans-Pacific Partnership. A lot of people called it the NAFTA of the, you know, North America and the Pacific.
Yep.
And like literally the first day that Trump, you never heard about that thing again.
You're right.
Like, the first
He was
day
like,
this
goodbye.
dude took office, boom.
Adios. Which, like I said, I was pretty surprised when he took office. I didn't vote for him. But I was really surprised at some of the moves he made when I was like, okay, let's see how long he keeps this up, right? But that didn't last very long. He started. But anyways.
Dropping Moab.
So for the next, this is about CNN.
Afghanistan.
So, yeah, assassinating Iranian generals, whatever. For the next 4 years, CNN served as the leading media resistance to Trump, throwing objectivity out the window. And after President Biden got elected, the network cheered the new president as it had throughout the entire campaign, which was a joke, while still making Trump a prime centerpiece for the over-the-top negative coverage, despite him being out of the office.
Yeah.
And they're continuing to do that. So they're pretty much after Trump lost and CNN didn't have anything to talk about, their ratings dropped dramatically. And
dramatically,
so,
like
50%.
Hundreds of thousands of people watching this nationwide thing in a country of 300 million people.
Mm-hmm. And then
they absolutely abysmal ratings.
Right.
And
devastating to CNN.
And then remind you, they made excuses about how that was because the American people are fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's everybody's
It
fault.
wasn't because they suck and they're liars.
It's all these dummies not watching
Yeah,
us.
it was because...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because the American... Which, hey, it's
our fault.
There are a lot of, you know...
Yeah, but at the same time, there's
stupid
also...
folks out there, but...
To even imply that it's the Americans...
Yeah, that it's...
people's fault for not watching our stupid crap.
No, it's because you have lied so much.
Right. Yeah.
Remember when CNN was talking about podcasters, about how, you know, that there's people on YouTube that get more views than a CNN show, as if it was some horrible thing. They didn't even understand the way they were describing it. They were describing it as if they're entitled to viewers.
That's right.
They were saying, there's people on YouTube right now that get more views than this show. This is because the market has spoken.
Right.
And your show's fucking terrible.
That's right.
And that was why Trump would call them fake news right off the gate. Just bam, right? It makes sense, right? But as much as CNN tried to resurrect its lead character, President Trump, who was banned on social media and largely off the grid for about a year, but they kept bringing him back in, right? And having to be like, oh, this is what's going on. So their ratings fell. This says here, this statistic says his ratings fell CNN's ratings fell 90% overall when compared to January 2021 to January 2022. That's pretty significant. That's like a death blow to most companies. You know, if you're...
Yeah.
I mean, with a company like that where you depend solely on your ratings for your income, that's pretty...
Well, you would think that if there was a legitimate armed insurrection on the Capitol, that CNN's ratings would have been far higher than they were.
Right. But they weren't.
Oh, because a bunch of morons decided to go break into the Capitol and trespass at most?
Right. Somebody took a dump on Pelosi's desk, allegedly.
Yeah. I mean, she deserves it.
Right. Hey, yeah. Welcome to the real world, Nancy.
At least.
Yeah. It's probably somebody from California saying this is what's happening.
Did he dump on it or did he pee on it? Cause
I don't know.
How would you take a dump and then like not wipe your ass?
With papers all over your desk, you wipe it, dude. Come on.
Okay.
Didn't you ever see... I don't remember the name of that show, but basically they followed this one guy around that was terminal cancer, and he just did whatever he wanted. He went to his doctor's office, got into an altercation with him. The doctor left. He took a dump on his desk and wiped it with his medical record and left it on the doctor's desk.
Nice.
On video. It's cool.
Sweet.
Power to
pissed
the
off
people.
about dying, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't his doctor's fault, though.
Right.
But anyways, I regress. That all you gotta say? It's some type of bodily fluid.
We're not sponsored by Dude Wipes.
Yeah.
Dude Wipes.
We should, though.
That'd be sweet if we were, though. Hey, in case you shit yourself or your doctor's desk, here are our Dude Wipes sponsoring this hour.
Right, we wish. Yeah. You need a maintenance wipe at work? Dude Wipes. All right. Moving forward, let's see. Zucker released a statement saying he had to resign because of this was just recently, back in the beginning of the year. I didn't put the date on here, so I apologize about that. But he resigned over allegedly having an affair with an executive named Allison Golist. Okay.
Yeah, he was.
Apparently, nobody believed that excuse. I mean, because I guess affairs and stuff happen all the time in this industry.
In the industry where people use power and secrets against each other all the time. Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Look at all this stuff that happened with all these female interns and stuff like Como and all that other stuff. I mean,
stains on dresses and
come on. Yeah. Look at all this stuff that came out about Trump and
dead ones at
Biden.
Dead ones at congressional offices.
Dead secretaries just showing up. Yeah, weird.
Like at the place back in Florida and all this.
Weird, right? So this is nothing new.
Nothing against the great state of Florida at all.
I mean, this is the way of the world. People these people are not normal like us. I guess what you would call normal. Okay.
Well, it's because they're psychopaths.
They're narcissistic, egomaniac psychos. Yes. So Zucker resigns, and then Chris Licht, L-I-C-H-T, Licht, Chris Licht took over CNN, and almost right away canceled CNN Plus. Remember, CNN Plus was supposed to be this huge thing. They're going to have all the CNN documentaries.
$1 billion
and all this stuff,
effort or something like that.
They spent
right?
2 years. Yeah, 2 years building this. It came out. Apparently, it got really good subscriptions based off of other subscription.
Yeah.
And
then your
stuff
average,
back then.
Your average CNN viewing tool bag just getting on it automatically, right?
And then this Chris guy is like, "Yo, this has got to go." The really crazy thing about it, if you look into the story, I guess he showed up on the floor after he took over. He showed up on the floor of CNN Plus and was talking to all these people, like, "You guys are doing a great job. Yeah, we're super excited about this." And then 2 days later, he sent out an email like, "Hey, never mind.
Your jobs are gone.
You guys got to get out of here." Right? And
And
then
so sad
and then
to hear about people that work at CNN losing their jobs.
Yeah, it's just a shame. Just a shame.
Crying shame.
I mean, even though they were still employed while everybody else was getting laid off during COVID. So whatever.
From home.
Yeah. So, anyways, then
Flubin on the tubing.
Yeah. Shortly after that, old Chris Licht canceled the show Reliable Sources, which a lot of people have deemed, to call it unreliable sources, with that Brian Stelter.
Stelter?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't even pronounce
Stelter?
his stupid last name.
Unreliable?
Well,
they suck.
Brian
They're terrible at their job.
Stelter's show keeps slipping and slipping and slipping in the ratings.
He's the worst. And you know
Same
what
with
they
Don
do?
Lemon. It's the same thing. Everybody knows they're not real. They're not real humans.
And Joe, when you read those articles and you listen to those guys talk, Stelter's done this a number of times. There are segments where they're outright calling for censorship.
Yes.
They're like, hey, please deplatform the people who I don't like because, they're saying things that are conspiracy theories. And by the way, they use that for anything. They use it so loosely.
Brian Stelter talking to the press secretary saying, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? Like, hey, you're supposed to be a journalist.
And they wonder why they get no views.
But it's not even that. It's like they're obviously being told a certain amount of what to do. And, I mean, maybe he'd be an interesting guy if he had his own podcast, if he could just rely on his own personality and be himself. I don't know. I can't imagine doing that gig.
No, you're 100% right.
Any of those guys, that gig is a strange gig.
Unreliable sources. I mean, let's begin. I mean, really, how many news anchors at CNN were likable people? I mean, how many news anchors in general are
Anderson
likable?
Cooper.
Oh yeah, dude, he's totally.
remember when
CIA intern?
Yeah, remember when he was like
in the water?
Yeah, down in Florida. Was that Florida or Georgia? Which one?
You tell me. I don't know.
Yeah, he's in the water, and then
he was on his knees, and those people were walking.
Overweight, like chest deep.
Yeah, he was on the waiters, and then those people were walking in the background, and they're just like, "What are you doing?" He was like on his knees in a puddle, and he was trying to show it like, "This is how deep the water is."
Like he works for the CIA or something, and he's trying to convince people of something else.
Right. Well, I mean, these people are, dude. There's a lot of weird stuff around Anderson Cooper too. If you start digging into him, his mommy, where he grew up at, some strange stuff. Yeah, but we can get into that another time.
Kenya?
Anderson Cooper? I'm pretty sure he wasn't born in Kenya. Or from there. No.
What the hell do you mean by that?
North Carolina, buddy. Yeah. Kenya would destroy Anderson Cooper. You see how pale that guy's skin is? I was in Kenya with some Irish freaking Marines, and they were having a rough time, bro.
You've been to Kenya?
Yeah. I spent Thanksgiving in Kenya one year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was terrible.
Geez, been known you for a while now and never knew.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah. Well, now you know. Yeah. I spent, what was that, 2000? Yeah. Thanksgiving in 2010 in Kenya eating UGRs.
What's a UGR?
It's this ration. I can't remember what the actual acronym is for, but I call them under garbage rations.
That was when you were
in the Marines.
an NGO peace worker.
No, we were just doing cross training with the Kenyan military.
No, you were part of the Peace Corps.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was when I was on vacation, working
with Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, in Kenya. Anyways. Yeah, Anderson Cooper would be in a rough shape in Kenya, dude. That son is relentless. I'm telling you. It was rough. Old Chris, after firing Brian left after his show was canceled. He was, well, fine. If I can't have my show,
I'm going to leave.
He's probably going to go start a podcast and do all this stupid crap and realize how much nobody actually likes him. And then hopefully that's the last we ever hear of that guy. Just saying. Anyways. In a public statement, statement to advertisers and internal town hall meetings and memos, he signaled that he would like to see CNN move away from what critics have said is a tilt to the left in its commentary and moderation.
Just a tilt.
Slight, like the globe's tilted slightly.
Yeah.
Okay. As well as sensationalism that left the network touting breaking news frequently. That was the other thing, remember? Breaking news!
Yeah, everything was.
Yeah, everything was breaking. Mark Rubio tripped over a sandwich.
And then it's got
Look how stupid this guy is.
And then it's got like a little Pavlov chime there.
Oh, yeah. Like conditioning you somewhere.
And then all the people just...
You want to know what the breaking news is today?
What's the breaking news?
Why NASA wants to return to the moon before sending humans to Mars.
Yeah, okay. Good luck. I know. I saw that Monday. I was like...
Of CNN?
Yeah, front page.
I'm like, dude, that's a whole other topic we can get on, but good luck getting through those Van Allen radiation belts. All I'm going to say. So... Now I want to get into, so CNN supposedly is going to start changing their ways. We're going to see what this Chris Licht does with the playing, with the spruces it up maybe a little bit, gets back to maybe some middle of the road reporting. I don't know. But has their reputation been too far hurt over the last couple decades of them just acting like cowboys and propagandizing?
Well, I wouldn't say they acted like cowboys.
Do whatever they want.
Cuomo and his brother.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which they get into that. Zucker actually, during that whole thing, I read Jeff Zucker was advising old Andrew on what to say.
Right. So it was a scandal involving the governor of New York, but he resigned and went away. Was it because of the CNN scandal? Was it because of tens of thousands of...
Yeah. Killing your grandmother?
Of... geriatric age folks
Como lied
and systematically killed off in nursing homes? I don't know.
I mean, he intentionally made workers that were COVID positive go, which we knew at that time was going to kill Granny if she got it, and they sent him anyway. That's kind of a big deal. But, he also touched that intern, so he's got to go.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Which
That's
one?
bad
How many?
too.
Which one?
The one that lost him his job, that one.
Yeah.
When it was convenient at that time.
Right.
That one.
That one, yeah, which is an easy out again.
And then what happened to Andrew Cuomo?
His brother. We'll get into this. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me get into a few of these things. So one of the things that a lot of my liberal friends were very upset about, which I could agree, I could understand, Bernie Sanders was, he was picking up a lot of steam in 2016, and CNN all but pretty much tried their best to be like, no, this guy sucks. Not necessarily like in that matter, but they weren't giving him as much coverage as I guess his fan base wanted.
Pretty much ran the Democrat presidential campaign.
Yeah, and
who got shown and who didn't get shown.
Yeah, they were
Hillary Clinton,
rooting Hillary,
and
a lot of people were upset.
And not Bernie Sanders.
I get, and then that's
and
when
he
that
conceded
hashtag,
because
totally
he's
just
a
rolled over
ass
because he's part of the system too. But hashtag Occupy CNN was on Twitter. What's that word?
For a week, hashtag
trending
on Twitter for a week,
for a couple weeks, I think.
'Cause that's how strong those people
are. Yeah, 2 weeks. But so then we get in here, which I really thought, I was talking to Theo and Erock about this prior to the recording. CNN executive Eason Jordan, who, as the New York Times reported, ended up in extremely hot water in 2005 when he reportedly stated that the U.S. Army killed journalists in Iraq. The CNN big shot had stated that over 4 dozen reporters had been killed in Iraq, and he believed that soldiers on both sides had been targeting at least a few of them. Jordan soon backtracked and clarified that the U.S. government clearly has no policy for attacking the media. Right. Ironically, Jordan's comments may actually have had a point, according to this article, which we know they did, because what we know from the Bradley Manning, or Chelsea Manning nowadays.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Right.
Chelsea Manning, whistleblower, leaked out that video of that Apache helicopter killing those Reuters journalists, right? Just smoking them, okay? And it was really funny. Not funny, ironic. That was under the Obama administration. One of the other big talking points that Obama had during his election campaign was that he would want a more transparent government. He wanted to allow whistleblowers to have, freedom to hold the government accountable in areas that they need to, blah, blah, blah.
Let me say it as simply as I can. Transparency and the rule of law will be the touchstones of this presidency.
But then, once he was elected, he went on to become the biggest prosecutor against whistleblowers of any other presidential candidate, any other presidential administration, I should say. And yes, Bradley Manning went to prison, became Chelsea Manning in prison, but he was the one that really helped bring that out. And according to Ann Cooper of the Committee to Protect Journalists, she says that at least 9 out of the 54 journalists who died violently between 2003 and 2005 perished because American soldiers opened fire on them.
Well, that's a pretty staggering statistic.
Yeah, really, really ironic that they fired that CNN executive over stating the truth. How dare you speak out against the U.S. government? What do you think we are, animals? We're over there spreading democracy.
Right.
You're over here smearing our name like some type of communist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dick Cheney.
Yeah. Venezuela. Turns out the Venezuelan government really doesn't like CNN either. According to a BBC report, the Venezuelan government, in fact, detests the network so much that in 2017 they outright banned it in their country. According to CNN, the country accused them of spreading propaganda. Nerve.
That's just because they're a radical leftist regime.
Dude, the nerve.
Or, I don't know.
The Venezuelan government? Yeah, I mean, they're no saints.
Right, yeah.
I mean, they definitely are no friends of CNN, so really interesting. Apparently, Venezuelan authorities accuse CNN of being full of violence and instigates religious, racial, and political hatred. The nerve.
Yeah.
The nerve of that communist government to say these things. Can't believe it.
That's the dichotomy of it, too. It's like, it's exactly what we believe. It's just, yeah.
Weird. Yeah. And coming from that government's really ironic. Anyways, kind of going back in time to the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing. Okay. multiple media outlets released false reports about the arrest of a possible culprit. Remember that? I was watching. That was live when they're like, "Oh, we got him," and this and that. And
I had already stopped watching CNN.
Yeah, that was well, that wasn't just on CNN. That was all over the news, different media outlets, right? Everybody was saying that. And then they had MRAPs. They were checking garbage cans. That was so ridiculous. I'm like,
MRAPs and Bearcats and
I'm like, what is the Boston
Tigers?
police doing with these freaking like? And that was also ironic because I was on the heels of Obama being like, that was after Sandy Hook, and Obama was like,
because weapons of war have no place on our streets or in our schools or threatening our law enforcement officers.
Except for his administration through
Armored
the Department of Homeland Security allowed police to have military vehicles and equipment that were quote-unquote decommissioned by the military, and they just painted them black, put police on them or sheriffs on them. And
our law enforcement officers should never be outgunned on the streets.
I'm like, really? How many IEDs are going off in America? And then, boom, Boston bombing happens by a pressure cooker IED. Weird. And I also recall them saying this jury or this trial is going to be televised, this and that. And then that kid, supposedly they killed the one brother or captured him. Then they shot the other kid, and he was found in that boat, remember? Yeah. And then they were going to say that it was going to be televised. And you got to dig deep to find out what happened to that kid. They didn't televise nothing.
Huh.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, CNN was accused, John King took things one step further when he described this non-existent suspect as a dark-skinned male. According to Politico. According to Politico.
That's such an excellent description.
Right.
You know, just go
clearly. We don't know who did this, but
it's a dark-skinned male.
Duh.
Start looking all over Boston for a dark-skinned male.
The
They used
boogeyman.
a pressure cooker to blow up.
Right, dude? What is this, 1950s? Like, come on. But that didn't stop the president, Jeff Zucker, who was at the time the new president, from sending his staff an internal memo congratulating them on their excellent work during the Boston bombing marathon coverage.
After they were looking for a dark-skinned man.
Good old pat on the back. You guys did a great job. Okay.
Excellent reporting.
So then we go on, Andrew's brother, Chris Cuomo, which I'm sure there was absolutely no...
Governor
Andrew's little brother, Chris, who was...
it came out that there was, and that's why he left CNN.
Oh, yeah, weird.
Yeah.
No, there was a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
But then, no...
He was, in fact, counseling his brother while he was governor on how to handle his media storm.
Right, with Zucker.
Right.
Yeah, okay. And then all of a sudden, Chris Cuomo finds himself in a full-blown sexual assault scandal, right?
And didn't have to explain for
$60 million lawsuit.
Blood on his hands. Just other
so
fluids.
Then Erock brought this up, the Don Lemon thing, right?
Oh, where he rubbed his nut cheese on the dude
at the bar.
What?
What, he reached down, the under cheese?
Tell him the story.
Down under.
Tell him the story. You were there.
Oh, yeah. Apparently it was a bartender.
Don Lemon's at the bar hanging
bartender.
out. Having a good old time, throwing some drinks back, on a stressful day of propaganda.
All right.
You rub your...
From under
cheese.
Yeah.
Just when you think you've heard it all, there is this.
Put it in their nose.
Right in his face.
Nice.
The bartender's face.
Yeah.
His sac
So you get
secretions.
the sense of the man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And not only that, it was pretty much the whole CNN staff allegedly was, helping cover up Andrew Cuomo's, his scandals, the nursing home scandals, the sexual assault scandals.
Were they covering it up by
not reporting
the
on it?
scent of Don Lemon's gooch or what?
I think it smells like lemons. Does he
I'm not
wash himself?
I don't know.
What a fucking piece of shit.
I mean, who does that?
I mean, I would have done that in high school, maybe.
No, I mean, I wouldn't have even done that in high school. I've done some messed up stuff to people, nothing like that.
So he got sued, but why didn't he get beat up?
Because he's lucky because people don't get punched in the face anymore. Well, not to mention, look at CNN's coverage of the whole Juicy Smollett.
Juicy Smollett.
Yeah. Which right away, right off the bat, was like, something's fishy here. You were in Chicago at 2 in the morning when it was like -20.
Subway.
Going to Subway? I didn't even know Subway was open that late.
No, that I got to tell you, that wasn't what got me. I mean, if there was a Subway open, I don't even like Subway. And
I'm
at
not a
2
big fan
a.m.,
of
if
it.
I was
Probably
like
eat it.
drunk munchies,
dude.
I would go do it.
Those cookies.
But what got me, I mean, because
This
mind
is mega
you,
country.
mind you, we're from Iowa. So we do border the state that Chicago is in, and that is
it's
a city that we'll go to every once in a while.
We'll go there for shows or whatever.
I feel
yeah.
privileged to say that I have really not been there very much. But
Yeah.
this dude
It's windy
gets
out there.
jumped by two dudes
Wearing
white
MAGA
dudes
hats
wearing
with
MAGA
a
hats
noose.
in downtown Chicago with a noose.
Right.
I don't buy that for one damn second.
Well, they
I don't
bought
buy that where we live.
No, we don't.
And we live in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, where
Right.
where you would think that. By the way, some people report stuff that we got all these. We're all white supremacists and blah 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 blah.
Which is false.
That would never happen here.
No,
and
ever.
It happened to one of the
Chicago.
kids that was on Mighty Ducks in fucking downtown Chicago.
Right at 2 a.m. negative
No.
negative 20-degree temperature or whatever
No.
it was. It was
He was on
like
Mighty Ducks?
ridiculous.
Yeah, he was one of the kids.
Yeah, he was
on
one of the
the
kids.
movie, man.
I didn't realize.
I think the second. Well, was the first? No, he was all three of them, wasn't he?
No, I think it was just
Or
the
just
first
second
one.
it?
Yeah,
Oh, I can't remember.
first one.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
It might be a trivia question one of these days.
Well, yeah, you never know. But anyway,
Isn't that crazy?
the
though?
whole story was insane. I've been to Chicago.
Well, so you're saying
before.
he's a hockey player?
He
On
played.
screen,
He
jackass.
played a
Okay,
hockey
because
player.
I've heard some stories about.
You hockey players. Anywho, if you've ever been to Chicago late at night, especially like after midnight, there's a lot of homeless people that come out. Which, hey man, they gotta stay out of the public's eyes during the daytime because then they get messed with by the police. So that's the other astonishing thing is that there was absolutely no witnesses,
No witnesses.
none whatsoever.
But it actually turned out that
There-
it was two.
yeah, two of his trainers.
Was it Kenyans?
They were like trained. I don't remember.
They
I
were
think
actually
Africans
they were
or
actually
South
yeah they were
Africans or something. Yeah,
gentlemen from Africa.
yeah.
And they were the ones that were actually like, all right, hey, this was what happened.
He told us, yeah,
he said
we
he'd
thought
pay
it
us
was
some
a
money,
joke
you
or
know, we're
something.
brothers,
Yeah,
and we came up from nothing.
they couldn't even find the Subway guy that made him the sandwich.
Oh,
That's how many little witnesses were there that could. And I remember watching. I think it was Dateline. It was an interview with Juicy Smollett. And the caption on the bottom said, "Actor gets emotional recounting assault," and I was like, "An actor getting emotional on film? That's so weird."
yeah.
It's almost like they're paid to do that.
I was going to say it's almost like you're running a psyop against a Russian invasion in Ukraine or something. But
I don't know.
Oh, never mind. We've talked about that.
But yeah, well, and it was just
Actors on TV.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle did the best skit stand up for
He
explaining
did.
the Jesse Smollett
Before
situation.
he got in trouble for explaining other things and speaking to average, everyday people. Right? He got,
Which we can't have that.
Yeah, he got in trouble for that.
Yeah. So, but anyways, circling around, I really think CNN is. This very well could be the death throes of CNN. I mean, for decades they've been really shooting themselves in the foot to the point where the foot doesn't even exist anymore. It's just a bloody stub.
Well, I'll believe it when I see it based on they've been such a loyal mouthpiece to the empire for so long that
that's a very good point.
they could have some artificial support.
Remember when the Black Lives Matter rally,
the protests.
Well, I don't know, not rallies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they broke into the CNN and busted windows. And
and
well, geez, they got off easy.
The headquarters, yeah.
Other BLM protests have ended up with entire city blocks burnt down.
Yeah. So a few broken windows. That's chump change, man. No big deal. But I don't know. We'll see what the future has to hold for this network.
Well, there was also the Project Veritas, James O'Keefe.
Oh yeah,
they had all the the honeypot so it was spring break of 2021 when this Asian hate crime wave started happening. There was a shooting. Never heard about that shooting. We're still listening to other shootings. Parkland, the trial's going on. Yada yada yada. But you didn't hear about the Asian hate crime shooting anymore in the Atlanta Mall or whatever it was.
Right. Why not?
This was
happening
you know
all over
what?
the nation.
You know what?
according to
Look at James O'Keefe's video of the CNN executive on the Tinder date.
Oh yeah,
and he will tell you. So we don't have to tell you.
Maybe
Maybe
I'll bring this. Maybe I'll splice that in right here.
He will tell you.
Then from his own words, his own mouth. Yeah.
So then all of a sudden the Asian hate crime hoax just went away.
Weird.
When video of certain demographics didn't fit the narrative.
Strange.
It was amazing. CNN was at the lead of that. Atlanta.
That's really weird.
Based CNN.
I don't know why that would happen. You know, it's strange things. But like I said, we'll see what the future holds for this news network. That's my final thoughts on the deal.
Yeah. Well, Erock, what's your take? Teepee maintains that he thinks that we could be in the death throes. I think they're a little too influential.
I do like visiting CNN to see what their take is on everything going on. I'll bounce back between Fox News and
I can't handle the awkwardness, so I just
the polarizing.
I can't handle.
Sometimes I don't know if I'm on the
stupid
Onion
shit.
News Network or CNN. I don't know. Is this a Babylon Bee article? Oh no, it's CNN. I mean, Fox does that too. Sometimes I'm like, what? Whatever. Anyway, it's really hard. It's really strange that we're in the information age now, and it's really hard to trust the information that you're getting from the so-called watchdogs. Right?
We're in the information age, and where everybody has all the information at their fingertips, and it's also like the greatest age of propaganda.
Yeah. Biggest library at your fingertips, and people use it to complain on social media and jerk off. That's it. It's pretty pathetic, but I don't think that's by accident.
Spank.
Angry Birds. All right. Anybody got any other final thoughts on that?
Get it, Erock.
The people want to hear, man.
What do you have to say to the people? Say it.
I don't have anything to say. What does CNN hold for the future? Nobody knows.
Yeah. Good point. Nobody does know.
Next time.
Except for maybe the guys running Operation Mockingbird still.
Whoa.
They might know. All right. Well, this concludes our show. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with your friends and family if you enjoy the show. We really, really appreciate that. That helps us get out. That's the best way to help us grow.
We are actually just legitimately some regular dudes. We all
got families and 9 to 5s.
Shop in the middle of nowhere in Iowa.
Yeah. We just we want to share this information with you people.
Yeah.
So, you want to get a hold of us? You can get a hold of us. I'm Teepee at Iowatalkguys.com.
Theo at Iowa Talk Guys.
Erock at Iowatalkguys.com.
And you can follow us on Twitter at Iowatalkguys. And like I just mentioned before in the last show, we're working on getting our other social media pages up. Like Theo just said, we're just some regular dudes trying to do this, and we appreciate your guys' patience.
You mean this ain't paying me money?
No.
Oh, man, I'm out of here.
It's cost money.
Yeah, Erock's gone. Dang it. I ruined it. Sorry, folks.
Well, he's been gone.
Yeah, we just got him back. Now he's gone.
Come on, man. Damn it.
All right.
We're already having employee retention problems.
This is terrible. What's happening? What's happening to my country? All right. This has been great. Love you guys. Iowa Talk Guys out.
Hey, peace.